How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden. I think that the comment made by really both of them, because there are really two of them, about being garbage, maybe 250 million people, they shouldn't be talking. That's like deplorable for Hillary. This is the deplorable for Hillary. Joe Biden should be ashamed of himself if he knows what he's even doing. And she should be ashamed because she shouldn't let him do it. She's the vice president, but I assume she's acting as the president. She should never have let that happen. I hope you enjoyed this garbage truck. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, we did. We really did. Yes, it is Halloween, and Donald Trump decided one day early to dress up as a sanitation worker in response to President Joe Biden's comments about his supporters, Donald Trump supporters, being garbage, not the people of Puerto Rico. But is this just another method for cleaning up the mess that the Madison Square Garden rally, and specifically the comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, made when he made that joke about Puerto Rico being a floating island of garbage? It's a little bit on the nose there. I have thoughts. I'm sure Cenk has thoughts, but if you remember those comments, they really think that this is it. This is the October surprise, that Joe Biden did the deplorables line and said this about Donald Trump supporters. Take a listen.
Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization is seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
So right, that is the big line. And so Donald Trump decided to play it up and put on the sanitation worker suit. He looks really more like an air traffic controller. He's also like on a tarmac, weirdly. I don't know. There's also, let's just bring up the photo first. There's this photo, because that was seemingly a good idea when, let's be honest, the orange reflective outfit with the orange of his face and the white little blow up doll mouth, like it's just doesn't work. Like that's an undoctored photo, people. But there it is again. And Donald Trump actually, interestingly, for the first time, his campaign distanced themselves from the comments made by Tony Hinchcliffe, comedian, again, who made that joke about Puerto Rico, which was vetted by the Trump campaign. But still, in his garbage truck, he said, "I love Puerto Rico and Puerto Rico loves me," in case there was any doubt. And apparently this stunt went over really well, especially if you're Sean Hannity. Take a look.
As the saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And today in Wisconsin, take a look at that. This may go down as an iconic, epic moment that we will remember for a long time. Donald Trump hitching a very special ride on a garbage truck, decked out in American flags, MAGA gear. You can tell a lot about the state of a campaign by optics.
I guess. I don't know. I would just put a slogan on the truck like, cleaning up the Democrats' mess or draining the swamp or something. Otherwise, it looks like you really are leaning into being garbage people. And look, obviously, I think we can talk about, Cenk has thoughts, I'm sure, about whether that comment was a smart comment from Joe Biden. I will say this, from a little bit more of a comedic perspective on the comments about Donald Trump supporters being garbage. I don't think they're garbage, but I do think some of them are trash. And they know they're trash. Let's be real. The reason that people like Donald Trump is because he's kind of trash, right? He says the thing you're not supposed to say, that allegedly you're all thinking, like Mexicans are rapists, right? And women, oh, she's not a 10, right? Like that you want to just, you grope them, you do whatever you want, as we'll talk about a little bit later. Like that trash part of America, I think, is exactly what appeals Donald Trump to his base. And many of them would agree. They're okay with it. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna just say how I feel. I don't like the trans, but that's my take, Cenk. I know you have a different take, and there's also a poll coming.
Yeah, so was this a good photo op as a poll? Let's go nuts right now in the live chat. Yeah, I do definitely have a little bit of a different take than Francesca, but I would argue that it's nuanced, but it's not wishy-washy. I'm coming out strongly on all sides, so as you'll see here. So number one, look, I don't think it's productive to call anybody garbage and trash. As you know, how mad were we when he called Puerto Rico garbage? Well, that's how mad the other guys are when somebody on our side calls them garbage or trash. So it's counterproductive. I don't love it. So now, and I've got a real reason why the Trump guys are mad, and I understand it. I'll get to that in a second. But first, all the fake reasons. So guys, really, if you're MAGA, you're gonna pretend that you're upset about name calling? Nah, come on, guys, be real. Nobody name calls more than Donald J. Trump. He name calls in every direction. Everyone is it just, oh no, it's just Democratic leaders? Come on, please don't lie. Please don't be embarrassing. He's called America a garbage can. I mean, look, he constantly says, oh, America's a mess, it's terrible, America's terrible. Well, brother, you were president like 3.5 years ago. So why didn't you fix it completely back then? Anyways, that's the whole country, but you're gonna say, oh no, it's because of the immigrants. Well, okay, then he just called the immigrants garbage. And the immigrants were such garbage, they turned the whole country into garbage. So it's not just this comic, he's the one saying it, okay? And then when you get into Latinos, Jews, blacks, Christians,
Palestinians,
like not only does he insult every group, but then he says, if you don't vote for me when you're Jewish, you ought to have your head examined, and it's probably gonna be your fault. That seems like blaming the voters, doesn't it? Right? And he does that with almost every ethnic group. If you're pretending that you're offended when your MAGA God is the biggest name caller on planet Earth, please, either understand that you're super entitled and you think I get to say anything I want about you, but don't you dare say anything about my fragile snowflake ego, because then I'm gonna need a safe space for the rest of the election. No, right. Not buying it. You know what that is? That take is garbage, and you know it. You know you don't believe that. If you do, you're totally detached from reality. Wait, Biden, I thought you said Biden was senile, and I agreed with you guys on that. So now all of a sudden he's not senile and he meant it? Did you see him stumbling around with the words if you watch the whole clip? And he's like, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't know what he's saying. And did he mean the comic or did he mean all of Trump's supporters? My guess is, in his senile mind, he meant the comic. We can disagree about that. You could say, no, I know they hate us, and he meant all of us. Okay, fine, whatever. I don't care about that. But don't pretend that Joe Biden is all of a sudden has incredible mental acuity, and he meant exactly that, and he meant to insult you guys because he thinks that's a brilliant political strategy. Kamala Harris went out and immediately apologized for it, so apparently not a great political strategy if he meant it, and you know he didn't. Or I don't care if you think he did, but you certainly can't complain if you've been loving the name calling that Trump has been doing this whole time. Now, why are they, one last fake reason, why are they pretending to be so mad? And so maybe some of them are because they're so biased they can't see how much they've attacked left-wing voters and Democratic voters, but I think most of them are pretending. Why? Because they want to be able to say, we're even. We called you 2,000 terrible names. The senile old man slipped up and accidentally said something that we're going to pretend it is about all of us. Oh, we're offended, we're all even, okay? So that's a huge reason why. But the second reason is a little bit legitimate. So, look guys, the part of the Trump's appeal is he hates the establishment, and the establishment's full of elites, and the elites look down their noses at you, right? And so when anyone on the Democratic side calls them garbage, it triggers them more, because then they think like, oh, here comes the elites again, looking down at us. I hate those guys, and it drives them to go vote. So that part I think is true. All right, I said a lot there. Franny, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right. You have to, I mean, it's unfair, right? We're in these debates, and it's like you have to handle MAGA with kid gloves, as if not just what they're saying, but what they're advocating for. To me, the bigger headline of the Madison Square Garden rally was Stephen Miller saying "America for Americans," and we want to. I don't know what that was, but it sounded spooky. And we want to deport. Tens of 11 million undocumented people. Who's calling for mass deportation? Who is calling for an entire policy towards pro-Palestine demonstrators that basically locks them up and criminalizes their speech, right? Has an entire plan. It's called Project Esther. Look it up. It's a whole plan for criminalizing pro-Palestine people and calling them the enemy from within. Who's using, let's be real, fascistic and Nazi language? Like, this is the same thing when racists are like, the real racism is when you called me racist. No, that's literally not how anything works. That's like fart logic. Whoever smelt it, dealt it. That's not how farts work, people. Whoever smelt it didn't deal it. But do you understand what I'm saying? It's just so funny to me that they're trying to equate this. But Cenk, you're right. We always have to be the bigger ones and I have to say, wow, what a good stunt. You really handed it to us.
Yeah, no, look, again, the policy and politics are different, right? What was a good political maneuver versus what do they actually believe, what's actually gonna be the policy. So I don't think that Trump's gonna give us any good policies, but in this photo op, yeah, I get it, they're doing the fake outrage, and some of them are actually outrages I just explained, but this is probably a good photo op for him. That's my take on it, because he's flipping the frame and he's making it seem like the Democrats are the most guilty of accusing the other side of garbage, and it's taking the power away from what the comic said on in Madison Square Garden. He did this with fake news. Originally his team did fake news all over Facebook in 2016. They literally put out fake articles. That's where the term comes from. But then he jujitsu'd it and said the mainstream media is fake news. Now nobody remembers that he's the one that started fake news. They think his opponents did fake news. So when you have a giant garbage truck with Trump on it and him doing this whole shtick, I think people are, going to think, oh, right, the Democrats called the Republicans garbage. So I think it's, whether it drives us crazy or not, I think it is a good photo op. That's my take on that. And yeah, in terms of the photo op, just the photo op, what's your take on the politics of that?
I don't think it overcomes the comments that were made on Madison Square Garden. I don't think that, again, it's on the nose for trying to be a cleanup crew. He's literally physically trying to clean up the mess from the Madison Square Garden rally. It's just a few degrees removed. Not everyone heard Biden's comments. Not everyone who heard Biden's comments, even as you said, thought he was even being cogent or serious or didn't even remember what he was saying. So again, it's like, nice try, A for effort. It's not like, it doesn't make like Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez and all of the like massive like Puerto Rican celebrities just sort of like come to your defense. Nah, man, you're not getting, Hulk Hogan only has one shirt to rip off. Although, no, he's got like a couple, but you know what I'm saying.
I do,
There is more gaffe though. We can move on.
Yeah, no, it's just two things here. I want to see how the poll ended, but also, I don't think that it makes people forget about that. And I think that Puerto Ricans are genuinely super pissed. I gotta put my glasses on, but 68-32 saying no, it's not a good photo op. So only show in America where I'm like, all right, look at that, the audience disagrees with me. Way to have an open mind, okay? So, and we'll put that up on our YouTube community, tyt.com. Member votes count 100 times more. Members, go out there and support me. Okay, no, I'm just playing. It's perfectly good opinion to have on that. And I like that he also had kind of like almost a Halloween outfit the day before Halloween. By the way, the noise that you heard was me just trying to help with the Halloween feel of the story. No, I accidentally opened up something. Anyways, bottom line is it's not gonna. So it's not gonna. I opened up Twitter for a second and it's like.
Okay. I was like, what was that, like a new drink? That sounds really intense.
No, it was a video. And so, but bottom line is, no, the Puerto Rican American voters are not going to, well, they're all Americans, are not going to forget that. Our side's not going to forget the things that he said. But now we're in the get out the vote part of the campaign. So I think this will drive a lot of his voters to get even angrier and go, there they are again, looking down at us. I'm definitely going to go vote for Trump. So in that sense, I think it helps him politically.
I think that's a good point. But Cenk, I mean, like, can you imagine in the final week of your election, the big question that the mainstream, that everyone's asking is, did you just have a Nazi rally or not? Like, you can't imagine that's a good place to be for a campaign.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.